Hello everyone. I'm excited to do a video walkthrough of this really great web app called Genially. I started playing with it a while back and there's so much potential. I just haven't made a video on it yet. I want to show some ideas for using it. I am actually going to be using the free plan today. So everything that I'm showing you is available on the free plan. There is also a paid plan for you to get even more templates and other features. What is Genially? Well, there's a lot you can do in it. Looking through some of the inspiration here, you'll see that people are creating games, they're creating presentations. What's brilliant about Genially is that it is very highly interactive. You can create hotspots on almost anything. You can even create videos in here. Let me take you through the process. I have a couple examples I want to show you. So the first one, I'm going to go through in a bit of detail how I created this one, which I thought could be really fun for students making an about me or maybe even an about character in a book or something they're learning about in class. Very similar to what they might be seeing on Linktree, which again gets into that like authentic, what they're seeing out there and now they're able to create. So I'm going to show you in detail how I created this one from the template. I'm also going to just show you an idea for kind of like a portfolio type of video curation of progress over the year from this template. I want to show you how you can even create a video in here. So this one is not just a presentation, it actually views as a whole video. No video editing required though. You just work it through with some animations to the presentation. I'll show you how that works. Then you can also create images with hotspots that could be very great for a very truly interactive type of labeling and informational type thing. So we'll talk about that. And then lastly, how there's even the ability to drag and drop. So you can create an activity where students drag things into categories. And I'm going to show you how that also will work with adding audio. So maybe you're a world languages teacher and you want students to categorize things and then talk about it in the language they're learning about. So we're going to talk about each of those types of things that's available. There's even a drawing mode. I'm going to have to show you that because you know I love drawing on everything. But let's get started in this editor and I'm going to show you how I made this one. Here we go. To get started, let's go back here and just click on Create Genially. When you do that, you're going to see there's a bunch of different categories of templates. And the templates in here are really, really good. Again, I'm on the free plan. There's even more templates when you are on a premium. Now, I found this one under More, and then you'll see they have like these resume type things. I went down to vertical post, and then this was the one that I clicked. So all you do is click the plus sign. You can preview the template, see how it works. You can even click here to see what interactive elements it already has. And then you press use this template and it pulls it in just like that. So let me take you to the one that I created over here, and I'm going to walk you through the process of how I created this based on that template. So the first thing I actually did was I just duplicated the page because I thought maybe I would want to reference this. So you can press this little button right here and that would duplicate the page. You can also hover over to delete the page. This little icon here is your page transitions. So you can do some animations that are available on the sidebar there. So all I'm going to do is delete this page because I don't need it. And we're going to start with the template again. So first off, I pulled in my picture. So all I did here was I clicked on the picture and I pressed replace. And then I pulled in a picture from my computer. You can also hook it up to Google Drive if you're using that or Dropbox, but I just pulled it in from my computer. Now that it's there, click on it, press replace. Easy. If you want to modify your image at all, just double click on the image. You could recrop that image if you wanted to, just like that. Undo because I don't want to do that. And there's some other options like rotating, flipping, all of that good stuff. Now, what are these icons? This would lock it so that it doesn't move anymore, so I don't accidentally move it as I'm working on my creation. If I go back and unlock it, you'll see then I can move it. This is turning on dragging. I'm not going to talk about that till I get to the draggable. The draggable would allow when anybody's interacting with my presentation for them to be able to drag. I'm going to talk about that later in the video. Interactivity is if I want to create any of these as hotspots. For example, this about me, I could create this. You'll see this is turned purple because I have turned on interactivity, whereas on my photo it is not purple because there is no interactivity on it yet. That is hyperlinking to another website and more. So let's click on the interactivity. So here you can choose to link it to an external website, and that would by default open in a new tab, which I always recommend. You can also go to a page. This would be great for creating a choice board activity, an interactive presentation, all that good stuff. Window. What window does is you add something here. You can do a lot of different formatting. And this is, let's make it a medium-sized box. Press save. Now what's going to happen is when you click on this, you're going to see that text box. Let's preview it by pressing this button so you can see what I mean. Just like that, pops up a little text box. So that would be great for labeling up a diagram. Let's go back into edit mode. The last thing that I didn't show was the tooltip. Tooltip, the difference between window is I had to click on it for that window to pop up. A tooltip is just going to be a hover type thing. So let's go ahead and save this, show you what that looks like. So now instead of having to click on that, I just hover over it. So as they recommend, whenever you make something interactive, the tooltip, usually with a little bit of content, the window if you have more content. Okay, let's get started with some fun. So I decided to add my name here. There are a lot of different fonts. I actually liked the font here that they had, but I thought that was not super readable. And if I'm thinking about like using this in the classroom, that doesn't seem like a super accessible font to me. So I did go through and find something that I thought would be more readable. They have a ton of fonts available here, which is really great. I forget which font I ended up with. Looks like I ended up with School Bell. So select that. I think that font's a little bit better. And then you can, of course, resize these things bigger and smaller. There we go. Next thing I did was I looked down here and I didn't want these same labels. I wanted the first one to just be my book. So I made it Tech with Heart, but I said, well, people aren't going to know what that is necessarily, so I should have a little icon next to it. So there's two ways you could kind of approach this. First of all, this plus sign is an icon here, and you can press replace and it would go through all the buttons that are available. I didn't see something that I really liked here, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to stick with the plus sign on the right, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little icon over here on the left. So if you click on resources, there's a whole icon library right in here, which is really amazing because I know a lot of people go out to different icon galleries to get things, but this is all built in right here. You don't need to go anywhere else. Let's go ahead and search for book, and you'll see that there's not only icons, there's actually scenes, there's illustrations that are built in. So there's a lot to choose from. I decided I liked this one. I think I need to go back. I don't remember. And then you can of course resize it and you can move it. And these snap grids and the guidelines are really helpful. I'm going to show you how that works when I add another one underneath, but you can kind of see the positioning of this right there. So let's go ahead and add something else. Let's go back to the pages view so I can see what I did next. So I had my book and then I had my website. All right, so here we go. You get the idea. We're gonna do website down here, but now I'm gonna really use these snap grids to kind of make things line up here. So like that and like that. I can make it smaller and then I could snap it too to kind of see where things align. Then I'm gonna add another icon here. So I decided go to resources and I just searched for computer and I wanted to use that same kind of theme. So I chose this guy and then just pull it in, and now you'll really see like I want to line up in the center here, so you can see those snap grids are going to come very in handy. I'm going to go center and center it here too. Boom. And this is actually a little bit too close there. So you see how you would fill in the rest. Then I would want each of these to link out to whatever I want. So here I want it to link out to my book. go ahead, grab the URL and copy, go back, and then you would just click on the interactivity here, and I want it to be a link, paste it in, save. That's all I need to do. This last one that is turned on is the animation. So the animation type is that it is making an entrance from the left. It's fading in. It starts after 1 second, and here's the speed it's happening at. So it takes 2 seconds to fully animate. So you can change this up. I'm going to just leave the animations as they are. You can see how it was working there. Let's just do the website while we're at it. There's my website. Let's copy that. Let's go back over here, change the interactivity, boom. I would do the same for all the rest. And then the last thing I did was I actually changed up the icons here. Like I don't use Facebook, so I deleted that. And then I deleted what was underneath. I use Twitter, I use YouTube, but I don't use Instagram. Instead, I want to change that to LinkedIn. So go over to replace. And then what you can do is just look for LinkedIn. And what you want to do here is make sure that it is the transparent type, because I want the orange to pop through. I'm going to show you how that works in a second, but you can see this is a transparent type of background, whereas this one is a white filled in. So choose the one that's transparent, press replace, and then it doesn't look right because these are this light blue and this is a very dark blue. So you just go up here into the colors, and what's really nice is that recent colors are here. So these are the colors that were already in your creation. Go ahead and just choose that blue color and boom, it replaces. So that's wonderful. The way that it's working is that you'll see that the in was transparent here, you see, and there was just an orange underneath. So that's how they created this. Now I want this to be centered. It's not anymore because I took one away. You can just select all by dragging and selecting all of them and then move it to the center. Use the grid lines to line things up. If you wanted this to actually group, to always stay together, you can also group things just like that, group. And so now it's always grouped and you can easily ungroup it too. So I grouped it to move it. Now I want to ungroup it so that I can link each of these. So I'd want to link this to my Twitter. Go ahead, grab the Twitter, add interactivity. You get the idea. Let's link that, save. I would do the same thing for all the rest of my socials. And there's my card. To see what it looks like, click on preview. There's a lot of animations going on. You'll see that I didn't add the animations yet to those icons that I added. So this has a bit of work still to be done, but that's a great overview, hopefully. And then when I'm all set, you would press all set and it would be public. You can't get private unless you are on premium. So that is something to keep in mind. Reusable would be if you want it to be in the Genially library for other people to be able to use, which is really great for educators. And then you can choose some other options. You would definitely want to name it. When you're all set, you would press all set and you would get the link that you could then share with the world. Now, I do want to take you through a couple more examples, but I'm going to more quickly go through these so that you're not on this video forever. I really liked this idea. They had this in the template library of adding featured videos. And my thought here was that this could be really great for students to create a portfolio of their growth of videos that they've made over the course of their year. So you may have students creating in YouTube. You'll see YouTube pulls in beautifully here. How that happens is you go down to insert. Here's my YouTube page. Let's go ahead and choose one of these videos. Let's share this, copy. And then from this insert menu, you want to go over to video and go ahead and paste that in. And boom, it embeds it beautifully. Then I can resize it here. I even get the menu that you'll see pop open on the right. It closed, but I can bring it back up by pressing the settings. And that would allow you to even start it at a specific time. If you don't want the whole video to play, like start and end time, you can add those and all of those good things over there. Perfect. Now, perhaps your students don't have YouTube accounts, but they have Flipgrid accounts. Y'all know I love Flipgrid. So when students actually go to my.flipgrid.com, or even if they go into one of your Flipgrids, they'll be able to locate this under their name and then their profile. They'll be able to find all the videos that they have created. So let's go ahead and get one of the videos. So go ahead and click on one of the videos and then click the share button here. Copy the link, go back over, and then do the same thing. Go to insert, paste in the URL there. And it doesn't quite embed it, but it does pull in the thumbnail. So what I mean by it doesn't quite embed it is you'll see here that this is a video that I can just play in line here versus this one. It does click open to another tab. That's okay though. So students could paste in kind of some of their progress Flipgrids and document their growth, maybe add in some text to share why they added the videos that they added. I think that would be a great little assignment there. All right, I don't want to take forever, so I'm gonna go over to the next one. And this is just to show you that creating a video in Genially is also possible. So how this actually turns into a video, if you click on this right bar over here and you go to navigation, you can choose video. So it creates it as a video instead of standard, and standard would be that you would navigate through the slides. So video would just play, and then transition time between pages, you can set the duration there. So this is one that's already been created quite beautifully, and it's all done through animations. You can open up the sidebar to kind of see the transitions between pages. This one's a vertical transition, and it's the push type of transition like that you're seeing there. And then each of these elements has its own animation on it. So this, I would say, would be quite intensive to create up front, but you can start with the template, right? So let's preview it. So it's beautifully done there. So you could then kind of just take each of the slides and edit the slides. The animation's already there. You can add in some more animations of your own as you want. If you want to add an extra page, I would just recommend that you duplicate. So you add more pages, you can delete a page in between, and have some fun creating a video from these slides. Next up, something that I think is super useful and practical in the classroom. So this would be an interactive image. So let's go ahead and create an interactive image. Let's pull an image from my computer. There we go. Then you crop the photo. I don't know, I found this image the other day. I just loved it, so we're using it. Accept. And then you're gonna just add little hotspots. So here's one that's already in here for me. I can move it around anywhere. If I didn't want this one, I could delete it. Or you can press replace if you don't want the plus sign, but you wanted something like a play button. So let's go ahead and replace that. Let's put it right there. And then I could have that linking out. So let's go ahead to the interactivity. Maybe I want to link it out to a YouTube video. Just gonna link out to that same YouTube video that I had from before. And then here, this is like probably an eye to maybe get some more information for this one. Let's go ahead to interactivity and create a little tooltip. Actually, I think this one would be a window because there's more information. So let's say maybe you're telling some information about this camera and then add in some details here. You could even add in an image if you wanted to. You can hyperlink in here. You can insert a video, link up to a video. There's so much you can do in here. I'm really impressed by the editor, what it provides. And then you can choose if it's a large text box, medium, or small. So let's choose medium for this, press save. You can add in more interactive elements by clicking on interactive elements. You can press show more to find all of the button types that are available in here and just pull in whatever you want. So you can just keep pulling them in and keep creating their interactivity. It's not just the buttons that you have access to. You have all the access to, numbers, letters, markers, and so forth. You could also create this as an activity where you wanted students to maybe label different parts. So maybe you want them to point to the squirrel's ear. I don't know. Let's click on the button and let's just do like a location type of a pin. All right, let's click on that. And so maybe you would make this into interactive type, create a tooltip and say label the ear, press save, and then you want to make this the turn on dragging. Now let's preview it, and you'll see that when students hover over this, it says label the ear, and then they could drag the dot to label the ear. These are not draggable because I didn't turn draggable on. I only turned draggable on for this specific one. Now, after students engage with this activity, they can't send you what they filled out. So like you wouldn't be able to get their final project where they've moved everything around. But what you could do is just have them screenshot their final piece of work when they marked it all up, just like that, and then turn that in. So that's just a quick little idea there, and it's interactive and fun. So again, to turn those draggables on, you just use the little hand tool, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. All right, last example that I want to get into is this one, which has a lot of draggables turned on. All of these are actually draggable elements. As you can see, the draggables turned on for each of them so that students can put these into the respective parts of the house. So you could create this an activity where all they do is go into preview mode, they move things around, and then they take a screenshot when they're all done and turn that in. But what you could also do is send this to them, and each student creates their own copy. So to do that, you would press all set, make sure it's reusable. Go ahead, press all set. Go ahead and press the share button, press copy. And then if I open it incognito, kind of see what the students would see, then they would be able to reuse this Genially, log in with their account, and they could create their own. And what they could do there is they could actually just interact directly. So instead of in just the view only mode, they could interact directly. So kind of move things in, and then they could actually add some audio too. So some of the audio is premium. Like if you try and add background audio, you'll see that this is a premium only feature. But one thing to note, if you go over to the insert tool, you can actually click and record audio. So let's just do a little example. Here are the things that belong in the living room. And then that audio is inserted. You can't actually rename this. That's also a premium feature, but you can drag this. So you could just drag it over to the living room over here. And then when students turn this in, preview, you can just play it in line. Here are the things that belong in the living room. And so maybe they would practice saying each of these objects aloud. It would be great for a foreign language classroom, I would think. I think there's just so many applications here. So again, this is each student would get their own copy of it. The way that I did that was, now I already have shared it, so it looks different, but I just pressed all set here. I made sure that reusable was turned on, and then I titled it, shared it out, and I just grabbed the link for each student to get. They would make their own copy, and then they would share it back with you at the end. Now, I didn't even talk about all the features that are available. There are images in here, so many. They're powered by Pixabay. There's Giphies in here you can upload from your Google Drive, your Dropbox. There's resources in here, which we did kind of go over. Interactive elements we kind of went over. There's smart blocks, which I did not even touch on, that are available here if you're trying to make more of an infographic type thing. We kind of talked about some of the insert tools that were available. We talked about the audio. We talked about embedding a link. There's also, you can click on other to insert embed code here from other websites. You can try that out. We didn't really talk about backgrounds. And then pages, you can add multiple pages. Say that, let's go ahead and create another duplicate of the page. And then let me go ahead and just delete all this stuff here. And maybe only select the living room stuff, delete everything else. Paste that, make it real big to focus on just the living room here. Should have probably populated it a little bit more first. Let's copy and at least paste a sofa in. So one thing you could do is you could hyperlink between pages. So this living room, you could hyperlink it, add interactivity, go to page, go to the living room page, save. And so now if I preview it, if I click on living room, boom, it's going to take me to that living room page, which is quite excellent. You could also add an interactive element and add a little home button. So let's say, oops, I didn't want it on that page. Let's go to my second page. I wanted it on this page to go back home. And then you could link this interactivity, go to page, and always go to the first page, save. So now goes back to home, click on the living room, goes to the living room. There we go. Super simple. That's what I love about this. There's so much built in, so much that's possible. Last up, I said I was going to touch on the drawing capabilities in this thing because you know I like to pair everything with my Wacom tablet and ink things up. I'm always wanting to handwrite or annotate. So if you click on the menu, go into preferences here, you'll see the ability to paint on the Genially. Now note that this is not something that's going to be saved unless you take a screenshot, kind of like I was showing you before. This is something that's going to happen in your preview mode. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that capability on and then close out of this. So now when I click on preview, you'll see in the top right corner, I have this little pen tool. So I can just pull that. This is the thickness of the pen. So let's make it a little bit thicker and let's go ahead and choose red. So at this point now I can annotate anywhere I want on my slide. I could write on my slide, all that good stuff. So this would be a great way if you're in the classroom and you just want to be able to kind of write on some slides, talk some things out. I think there's a lot of power in writing and talking at the same time. We always do that as teachers. So you can do that using the draw tool right here, and then you can change the pen color and write anywhere on the slide. As soon as you make that small, it makes it go away. So that could be nice to kind of show and hide really quickly. And then you can't delete any individual things. You can't actually undo. So the features here are a bit limited, but it's just a very simple, great option. And then you can delete at the end. So if you wanted students to kind of highlight, annotate an image like this, you could have them do their work. And then like I was showing before, after they drag and drop their activity, you can have them take a screenshot of it and turn it in. So that is my last idea. I didn't even touch on half of what's possible, but I think I've made this video long enough. Hopefully it gave you a nice little preview of what's available. I had fun making this activity. I hope you had fun watching it, and that'll be it for this video. Bye.